what I'd pled guilty to, by the way, is not that I threw a chopping board at my ex-wife. It was that I threw a chopping board that hit her. That men seem to have suddenly no rights, and there's a certain there's kind of a formula that's used to really against men when they have a relationship breakdown that removes all the power from them, and then you end up with situations like mine. The thing with mine is it was played out a lot more public.
Yeah.
And it is a bit bizarre. You're calling me this woman basher, and you've got this weird story of me allegedly throwing a chopping board at. It's not even what I'd pled guilty to, by the way, is not that I threw a chopping board at my ex-wife. It was that I threw a chopping board that hit her. All right. And in truth, it was a very non-event. It was the worst experience of my life, and I don't wish it upon, you know, uh, my worst enemies, those that love to weaponize that personal experience. But again, if you think about it, when you think of a violent, abusive man, it's not some weird story about a chopping board 5 years, 6 years ago. That they have. They have a pattern of behavior where they're abusive, sick, and twisted men, and they belong in jail. But the other one that they say is, they kind of minimize the domestic violence, and I don't think that's helpful. Like, I think domestic violence is horrible, and both ways, and I think that often only men and physical domestic violence is picked up, and it should be called out.
But women can be equally abusive, and women can carry a lot of trauma from past history as well. And I think, I'm not sure what system you're talking about in Australia, but in New Zealand we have family court, and the system's recently been changed, and it's a mess. It really is guilty until proven innocent, and I don't think that's how a justice system should operate. But yet somehow in family court it is, and what it does mean is that a number of times either parent can be restricted for, like you said, some can be years at a time from access from their children, and it hasn't been done in a legal judicial process. It's just someone says something, and because the court system takes so long, it is what it is. And it's really, really sad how that can play out for people like yourself who are innocent, who haven't actually committed the crime, and therefore you're put in this awful position of, well, what do I do?
What I'd pled guilty to, by the way, is not that I threw a chopping board at my ex-wife. It was that I threw a chopping board that hit her. Because that was one of the crimes. The actual worst crime that I was convicted, that I pled guilty to, which I actually did, was 3 text messages that I sent to my ex-wife in that 10-year marriage. And they were mean text messages. They weren't very nice. And I'm a bit embarrassed by them. But having said that, if I had said those things, like it was, if I had said those things to her face, it wasn't a crime. It was about using a carriage service to harass. That's what it's called.